So hello and welcome to this Adobe Animate tutorial, and one more time we are going to create a tutorial which is going to be a little bit more theoretic, but I would like to show you something. And in one of the previous tutorials I created a video about the for loops, and right now I would like to create something a little bit more advanced, which is for loops inside of the for loops. And I have nothing to show you what we are going to be doing. I just want to, I think that I can try to explain you, and you will see whether you are going to be able to understand or not. I am in the HTML5 canvas, and we are going to be writing this with the JavaScript, and I have this like 800 by 800, but you can choose whatever color that you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this layer 1 first frame, and I'm going to choose actions. And if you didn't watch the first video and you have no idea about the for loops, I would recommend you to go ahead and watch it, or if you have any idea about the for loops, that's fine. So I'm going to type for let I is going to be equal to 0. I is going to be smaller than 10, for example, and then I'm going to type I++. And what I can do very simply at the beginning is type console.log, and we are going to be console.logging I. So right now if I'm going to hit Ctrl Enter, and I'm going to hit F12, or I'm going to right click and choose inspect and go to console. I'm going to, let me refresh this, I'm going to have these numbers from 0 up to 9 printed in the console. Alright, now what I'm going to do, I will go back to my code, and I am going to create one more loop inside of this loop. So I'm going to type for. And right now, I do not want to go with I, so I am going to go with J. It's like when you have nested for loops, you go like alphabetically. You have I, you have J, you have K, but for loops, that's like too confusing. 2 is like, you can handle this and you can use this. So I'm going to type for let J, and I'm going to say that it is going to be equal to 10, for example. Then I'm going to say a condition that while J is going to be bigger or equal to 0, and then I'm going to type J minus minus, and I'm going to type in here console.log J. Okay. Later on we are going to adjust it a little bit so that this makes a little bit more sense. But what is going to happen basically is at the beginning we have this first loop where we have I is equal to 0, I smaller than 10, I++. So we are going to console.log in here at the beginning 0. Then we have this second for loop, and the thing is that this second for loop is going to run every time that this loop runs. So we are going to console.log that I is going to be 0, and then we are going to have this J is going to be smaller than, J is going to be 10, J is equal or bigger than 0, J minus minus. So what is going to happen is we will print this 0 for I, and then we are going to print we are going to print 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And then we are going to loop through this outer loop, and then I is going to be 1, and this for loop is the inner is one more time going to run all the loop. So we are going to have right now console.log that this is 1, and this is going to run one more time the same way. We are going to console.log 10, 9, 8, 7, and so on. Then this is going to be number 2. We are going to console.log number 2, and then this loop is going to one more time run up till it will end. So I can hit Ctrl Enter right now, but this is not going to be visually very good. But at the beginning, I am going to have this first loop, first console.log that it is 0. Then we are going to have this up to 0. And then we are going to have this outer loop that it's 1, and so on. But this is not visually very good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in template literal So basically, instead of console.logging I am going to use these backticks. They are over the top. And it's like when you want to create some kind of string, you can go like so with the quotation marks, or you can go with the backticks, and the backticks are a little bit better. And in here, I can type that outer loop, and then I am going to type $, curly parentheses, and I. Okay, and if you do not know this, maybe try to search template literal. But yeah, this is just how you can console.log string. And I am going to hit tab. So in the console, we are going to be able to see this. And then instead of console.logging J, one more time, I am going to type backticks. And I'm going to type in here inner loop. And this $, and these curly parentheses, they are used when you want to put some kind of variable, or in our case the variable is I or J, so I'm going to put in here J. Hopefully this part doesn't confuse you, but yeah. And now what is going to happen, I'm going to hit Ctrl Enter, and I'm going to hit F12, and we are going to have that the outer loop is going to be 0, and then we are going to run the whole inner loop until it will go from 10 up to 0. And then we are going to increase the I to 1. So we are going to run the outer loop 1, and then one more time we are going to run the whole inner loop. And then outer loop is going to be 2, and then we are going to run a whole inner loop, and so on. All right. So now how could you use this for anything that makes sense? Well, I'm not going to show you like right now the practical thing with the graphics and so on, but I'm going to show you something which you may find interesting. So I'm going to comment this out for a second, and I'm going to create 2 arrays, and I'm going to go with const. So const, and I'm going to type boys names. And it is going to be equal to, and I'm going to create some names, so I'm going to type like Martin, and I'm going to type Peter, and I'm going to type Joe maybe, and I'm going to type Adam, I don't know, and I don't know if I pronounce these names correctly, I don't care. And then we are going to have girls names, and I can put in here, I don't know, Jane, Maria, for example. Then we can go with Monica maybe, and we can go with Eve, like so. And now I'm going to use this nested loop to generate a combination of all of them. So I'm going to put like Martin with Jane, Martin with Maria, Martin with Monica, Martin with Eve, then Peter with Jane, Peter with Maria, Peter with Monica, Peter with Eve, and so on. So I'm going to create a for loop, and I'm going to type for let I is going to be equal to 0, I is going to be smaller than boys names, and then I plus plus. Okay, and first of all I'm going to type the boys names. So I'm going to type that console.log, and I'm going to type boys names of I. Alright, and right now if I'm going to hit Ctrl Enter, and I'm going to hit F12, let me refresh this. Okay, so I did something incorrectly probably. Let me see. Okay, I wanted to write boys names dot length, of course. Okay, or you can type that boys names or length is 4, so you can write in here 4. But yeah, I explained this in the last tutorial, so I'm not going. And right now, if I'm going to hit Ctrl Enter, we are going to have this Martin, Peter, Joe, and Adam. And if I would do the same thing for the girls' names, so I could have this boys' names length, because the boys' names length is the same as girls' names length, but you could change this. and I will girls names dot length, and I'm going to console.log girls names of I, and I'm going to hit Control Enter. Now we are going to print Jane, Maria, Monica, and Eve. All right. So let me change this back, and I will just copy this to boys names like so, and like so. And I'm going to get rid of this console.log in here. And in here, inside of this for loop, I am going to create one more. So I'm going to type for let j is going to be equal to 0. J is going to be smaller than girls names dot length, and then j plus plus. And in here, I am going to type console.log, and we are going to console.log boys names of I, and then comma, and girls names of j. Okay, and before I will try to explain this one more time, I will just check whether this is going to be working fine. So I'm going to hit F12, and we are going to have Martin Jane, Martin Maria, Martin Monica, Martin Eve, Peter Jane, Peter Maria, and so on. So let's go back to the code and what's going to happen. So we have this let I is 0, I is smaller than boy's name length, I plus plus, and the I is going to be right now 0. And then we have this inner for loop, which is going to run all. So basically what is going to happen in this inner for loop, I'm going to type console.log boys names I, which is going to be 0, and girl's name J, which is going to be 0. So I'm going to print Martin and Jane. Okay, and then this for loop is going to repeat one more time. And right now console.log boys names, it is still going to be 0 because the outer loop is still 0. And we are going to print girls names J, which right now is going to be 1. So we are going to print Martin and Maria. And then this for loop is going to run one more time. So still boys names I is 0, so it's Martin. Girls names J is right now 2, so it's Monica. And then it is going to run one more time because the condition is still girls names length, the condition is still valid. So the boys names I is still going to be 0, Martin. Girls names J is going to be the last one, and is going to be Eve. And then we are done with this inner for loop. So we are going to run one more time the outer for loop. And right now I is not going to be 1. I is not going to be 0. It's going to be 1. And we are going to run this loop one more time, the all loop. So right now boys names I is going to be 1. So it's going to be Peter. And we are going to start this from the 0. So it's going to be Peter and Jane. And then this for loop is going to run one more time. So this is going to be 1, Peter, and this is going to be 1, it's going to be Maria. And then it's going to run one more time, and this is going to be still Peter, 1, and this is going to be number 2, which is Monica. And by this point, you either understand it or don't understand it. Hopefully you do. And basically this is it. This is like a for loop inside of the for loop. And in the next video, I am going to show you how you can use this for loop inside of the for loop to generate the pack of cards. Because I'm going to have one array which is going to have all of the values 2, 3, 4 up till Jack, Queen, King, and Ace. And in here I am going to have all of the suits, diamonds, hearts, and so on. And then I'm going to create this for loop inside of the for loop to create all of the cards. Maybe right now you can do it by yourself, I don't know, but that's for the next tutorial. But in this tutorial I wanted to show you something like this. So let me know in the comments if this makes sense, and if you think that it can be useful, or you think that is useless and you don't understand it, I don't know, just let me know. But yeah, this is it. Thank you very much for your time, and hopefully I will see you in the next tutorial. Thank you. Goodbye.